Hello, how you doing? Can you guys hear me all right? Hello out there.
Yes, sir, I hear you. You're not a little bit muffled.
Oh, a little bit muffled. Hmm. I think I can turn. Mic check, mic check. I don't know. Is it okay now?
Sir, it's fine.
All right, cool. Okay, guys, welcome to part two. As per usual, this is more of a working kind of class setup. Um, all right, so today is going to be about post-production, and then next week class, which is, I think it's officially our last class. I guess I could say legally our last class. Um, did you hear from any other of your lecturers on what day would be their last class?
Sir, for me, after this week is my last class.
Right, right, right. God, this week is, by our calculation, this week is the 13th week, right? So, let me see. I think the semester ends next week. Or is this week? I don't even know. It was a moving target. Then we had that little delay in the middle of at the start of the semester. Hmm. So not sure. All right. So we're talking about the 3D production pipeline because this is what you're gonna have to do for your final project, right? Now, um, as I said, one of the things that you guys need to know, definitely leaving architecture, is how to manage a production, whether it is images, especially if it is video, because chances are most of the whichever field you're going to be going into, you're gonna need to probably be a part or even run a production of some presentation, usually, right? And a lot of people are moving towards video. That means that wherever you work, um, or even if you become the masters of your own destiny and you open your own firm, your clients are going to be wanting for animation, right? As a matter of fact, I mean, even where I'm working now, it is like they're saying, oh, we need an animation, we need a walkthrough because we need to put it on the website or whatever. So usually what happens is that because the architect is the one that does most of the design work, you guys already have the material, so you can turn it, you can take that BIM model and extract a lot of material from it. So you can get rendered images, which you know already. You can get animations. Nowadays, you can even get a interactive VR if you're using Enscape. Anybody uses Enscape, by the way? Any Enscape fans in the house? None? Okay, do we know of Enscape? Nobody?
Yes, but I've never personally used it.
Okay, one person. Maybe other persons here I heard about it. All right. Now, here's the thing, guys. You're going to your first day at work, and they say, Hey, Adams, we're in the middle of this project. We have schematic drawings already. Maybe those schematic drawings are more like schematic sketches, you never know. We need to present what we have so far to the client. But what we're presenting to them, images alone won't tell the full story. We need to show an animation so that they can understand how this space connects to that space and so forth and so forth. What do you say, Adams? You ready for that challenge? You there, Adams? No? You're on your way, trying to find that mute button. Let me make sure that I also have my chat open this time. Right. All right. So let's skip it to somebody else. Reeves, are you there?
What did you just call, sir?
Right. I painted a picture a while ago. Did you hear the picture I painted?
Yeah, I heard most of it.
Mm-hmm. So what you say? You ready for that? When you walk out of CSA and walk into, I don't know, ABC architectural firm?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So the architect look at you, Reeves, and say, so I need you to execute that for me. So Reeves, what's the first thing that you do?
Sarah, Brittany, they talked a while ago still.
Hold on. Who was I speaking to? I was speaking to Brittany.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought I was speaking to Reeves. Okay, so where is Reeves? Not here? Can't find the unmute button, perhaps? All right. That button is just so hard to find, you know? A lot of we looking for it and we just can't seem to find it, you know? But I know you're there, you guys in spirit, right? Anyway, Brittany, what do you say? You'd be up for that challenge?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what's the first thing you do?
You said it was more like schematic sketches.
That's what they have.
Right, so first I would turn those into actual 2D drawings or BIM drawings.
Okay, cool. All right. That's logical. Though, the first thing I would do is I would ask. Yeah, go ahead, Archibald.
So what about so I would probably drop them in Blender, sir. Blender, then model it there and then get the animation from there, sir.
Okay, cool. Cool. Fair enough. That's what I mean, that's reasonable. Basically, both of you are saying the same thing. You need to create some digital version of the schematic sketches.
But in today's day and age, I mean right now, I don't know, we have AI. Make AI do the job.
Sir, I would ask you, sir.
You would what?
I would ask for a timeline and then that would determine what software I use.
Okay, cool. All fair. Even the AI is fair game as well. I would love to do a talk on AI, but we're totally out of like course time. It's literally the last part of the course.
I was just gonna ask that, sir. Like how valid is the use of AI in architecture? But Yeah,
Oh
man. So
yes.
just go ahead, if you can't talk much.
I don't know. Maybe if we find a little bonus time, we can go into how maybe look at some examples. I've used it a couple times. It's quite an interesting thing to talk about. Like it deserves its own topic and some kind of activity, which would be great. But I don't know, man. This is the problem. This is why a module gets heavy, because there's so much things to discuss, right? And we just keep adding. But if you add it, you're gonna have to remove something else. So I don't know. We'll have to look into that the next time. But yes, AI is fair game, and AI is something that we should definitely jump ahead and start to use it. I won't linger much on it, but my thoughts on it are, think about if you're a student nowadays and you decide not to use Google, right? Or Wikipedia or whatever. You will go to the library only, and that is how you will do all your work for the 4 years you're at university, right? That is pretty much where AI is heading, So it's not something that you can reasonably ignore, but it's something you have to figure out how to use. But anyway, I don't want to go down that road because that will take me on a rabbit hole, because I have a lot of thoughts on that. But sticking to that same topic, the first thing that I would do, I would say, well, who else is going to help me to produce this work? I need a team. That's actually the first thing I would do, right? Because what you will realize is that, remember how this module will look on other industries and look at how they use certain methods and technology, and we try to incorporate that in architecture. Well, again, if you take a look on anything related to film, maybe animation, that kind of stuff, there is a procedure that they usually go through. And nowadays, when you show any kind of animation, right? The expectation of our clients has risen. You're not going to show a client a rendering and they go like, whoa, mind blowing. The project is yours. No, because I see that stuff every day, right? Every day you see high quality visuals, whether in movies, the every day you look on websites like Lumion and Twinmotion and you see these awesome architectural visualizations. So the bar has raised. And because the bar has raised, the software has gotten better, but it also means more work, right? When I was in school, I didn't really have to worry about, like if I'm placing trees in a rendering, maybe I'm doing it in Photoshop or it's just a little squiggly line. Nowadays, like, I'm sure y'all use Lumion and Twinmotion. There are like more than 50 foliage for you to choose from. If you're even using Twinmotion, you have Quixel Megascan. You have options and options and options and assets and assets and assets. So it is expected that your visualization would be at a certain quality. So the first day you walk into the job, that's similar to the first day I walked into my job. Well, not exactly the first day, but more like the first month, right? And they say, hey, we have this big presentation and we need to show this. We have 5 units up on a hill and it overlooks Kingston, and then there's a swimming pool, and then there's a cave as well, and blah, blah, blah. And we want to show all of this to the client, and we want to show it as a animation. Like, first thing you do is you put together who is your team. Because if you're going to go it as a one-man show, it's going to be either the wisest thing for you to do is to scale down the work once it's going to be a one-man team. But usually for these type of projects in a firm, like a firm will have maybe a project that is their, what do you call it now, their top shelf project. It is probably what will pay everybody for the next 3 years. So they need to like come good on this project. Usually the principal will be willing to dedicate some resources to it. So the first thing that you should say is, all right, I'm going to need Jeremy and Horace and Anita to work with me on this, you know, because all of you are working at the same firm, just in my imagination. Right? Right? And you put together a team and you create what's called a pipeline, right? And of course, I'm not talking about NWC, right? But it's called a production pipeline. So usually in the world of any kind of production, whether you're doing images or film or whatever, there is usually a 3-step process that you normally have. And I think in architecture, well, you see those nice ArchViz renderings or images, or those nice architectural photography that you see out there, chances are they're using these steps, right? And these steps comes from the film world, right? So once again, we're looking at film and we're saying, hey, these guys use these steps to get some really awesome, you know, TV shows or whatever. Let's use that to help our architecture to be better. And that's called the production pipeline. And basically, you have 3 different steps. I'm going to skip these just for a bit. Right. Here we go. Right. You have pre-production, production, and post-production. Right? Now, in this class, we're going to focus on post-production. We're kind of doing it backwards, but that's just how we're going to do it. Right? Pre-production is the planning, production is the doing, and post-production is the refining. Like, I know that it sounds like super simple, but literally anything from a blockbuster movie to a very good ArchViz photography that you see out there uses these same steps, right? And pretty much it's anything in the digital cinematic realm, right? I remember we looked at the word cinematic before, so we looked at what does it mean to be cinematic, so forth, and all of that. So these are the 3 steps. Now, as it relates to film, like if you're talking about, I don't know, Avengers or one of those Marvel movies, then in pre-production, you're talking about, you know, doing storyboards, developing the script, casting actors. That is the pre-production in film world, right? The production is actually shooting the film. Like you're out there on the camera, you're doing, I don't know, stunts and all of that stuff. And post-production, well, that is the part where you put all of those clips that you've captured together. You add sound effects, you add especially special effects, right? If you're watching any blockbuster movie, you have explosions and all kinds of craziness that exists. All of that is usually added in what you call post-production, right? In photography, it's the same thing. By the way, speaking of AI, guys, I generated these images with an image generator, right? So I find that AI is really good in giving me like descriptive icons. You know, like I want to show something, but I just can't find a simple representation of it. Yeah, AI works pretty well. I've been using that for a couple of years to do that kind of stuff. Right. Anyway, back to the main topic at hand. So for photography, if you're a person that you're going to take these awesome architectural photography, Then your pre-production is thinking about the photo shoot. Where are you going to shoot? I'm going to go in the middle of New Kingston. Scouting locations. I think I want a shot from the roof of this building. I want to get a shot from in the center island of the boulevard. What equipment I'm going to need? I'm going to need my tripod. That is pre-production. If you're a photographer, then production is actually when you're on site taking the photos, right? It's doing the work. And post-production, well, that's easy. That's when you are in Photoshop or in Lightroom. All right. I'm sure we all know the term. Oh, hold on. This is not full screen. I get this to be full screen. There we go. Right. You can see the screen fully now, guys? On your end?
Split screen, sir. I see you and what you're sharing. Split screen.
Oh, it hasn't changed to full screen for you?
No, sir. Split screen.
Oh. Okay. I don't know. It's split screen for anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 All right. I don't know. Okay, let me stop share. And let's share again. All right. Oh, is it now?
Full screen now.
All right, lovely. Right. So in the world of photography, post-production is when you're in Photoshop and you are, I don't know, enhancing the photo, enhancing the bright areas, you know, making, in architecture, you're making all the lines vertical, things like that, right? And then in architectural visualization, what's pre-production? Well, it's gathering all your assets. Like, anybody use Google Warehouse, 3D Warehouse for assets? Sorry, it's not Google 3D Warehouse. It's SketchUp Warehouse, SketchUp 3D Warehouse. Anybody uses that for assets? No? Okay. If you need to get, I don't know, a tree or a car or some asset, where are some of the places that you guys go to? Or you just get them from Lumion or Twinmotion?
So Revit City as well.
There you go, Revit City. That's a good one.
And BIM objects, sir.
BIM object, yeah. I mean, that would be, I guess, for your drawing production, right? So I guess if you are doing your rendering, then you are using, you know, Lumion or Twinmotion or whatever, right? Because it has it built in. But there are also libraries out there, for example, that have free stuff, right? So, for example, you have ArtStation. Anybody ever go to ArtStation before? No? Oh, no, you see? Okay, ArtStation has a shop. It has a marketplace. And when you go there, you can always set the price. Where do I find price? You can just set the price to 0. And then these are all the things that are free, you know. I mean, it's art, so it has like characters and stuff. But if you type ArchViz, you can get some awesome stuff like this interior. This is probably not free though. Is it free? Oh, hold on. I'm not in the shop. Yeah, I need to go to the marketplace. And then in the marketplace, you search for ArchViz. ArchViz. There you go. And was somebody talking about Blender? So yeah, look, this entire interior is free. Right? And it has this couch and this, you know, all these things here. So you know, and there are a couple other places like that. Sketchfab is also another place, and you have a few others. But for now, what we're talking about is when you're doing architectural visualization, pre-production means you're getting all of the tools necessary. In this case, it's assets, right? You're also doing things like determining the view angles, camera angles. You're planning which direction your animation is going to go. Maybe you're saying, well, because my project is about cabanas on the beach, I'm going to show a footage of, I don't know, of the beach, you know, and then I'm going to show the bedroom and that. So, you know, you're doing storyboard planning. All of that is in pre-production. Production is like you're in Revit, you're in Lumion, you're in Twinmotion, you're building, you're modeling, you're rendering images, you're rendering video. That is the production step. And post-production means that you have rendered all of your videos or your images, and now you're in Photoshop or you're in Premiere Pro, or what's the one in Windows called? Clipchamp. And you're putting that together and you're adding sound and video and all of that stuff. Right? So if you realize I've shown you 3 different fields, your film, photography, or architectural visualization, it's the same 3 steps. It's just that in one you're casting actors, but in another one you're looking for 3D assets. Right? All right. So you guys following me so far? Have I left anybody in the dust?
Yes, sir. Follow it.
All right. Now these things will become important because remember your final project is you're going to be needed to do this in production. And I can tell you this, when I did my my project in 4th year, like the concept of production, post-production, I mean, that wasn't really for architecture, that was for film. It was kind of just everything is just smudged together. But we've come a long way, right? Industries overlap. Here we are in architecture talking about video games and movies and then, you know, and people in movies are talking about games. And so it's like everybody is realizing that, hey, you know, my neighbor over there in that industry has some good stuff that I could use and vice versa, right? So we've really come a long way, right? Now, I kind of zooming in on architectural related production now, right? Because we're not necessarily dealing with film, as in we're not casting actors, writing scripts and that kind of stuff. But just like who was it? It was Brittany, right? Just like how Brittany walked into the office on her first day of work and they just drop a big presentation on her saying that, hey, we need you to do an animation of this, I don't know, 50 unit development, right? And if we don't get this project, it's your fault. Right, Brittany? No pressure, right?
Not my fault.
Anyway, so if I can tell the story again, then Brittany will be like, okay, no problem, I can do that. The first thing we need to do is have a team, and we divide the work into pre-production, production, and post-production. So before you jump into, we're going to use Blender, we're going to use Revit, we're going to use this or whatever, first thing you have to do is pre-production, right? And we're going to talk about pre-production next week. So this week is more for post-production. I know that I'm kind of doing the last thing first, but I'm doing that because you guys have an assignment that I want to get this week. And in order for you to give me that assignment, you're going to need to know post-production. So we're focused on post-production, right? But anyway, getting back to the story of Brittany on our first day at work at ABC firm, right? So Brittany said, well, the first thing I need to do is divide the work into pre-production, production, and post-production, right? What do you do in pre-production? What do you do in post-production? and what do you do in production, right? Remember, it doesn't matter if you're taking photos or if you're doing an animation of a gazebo, right? I mean, the gazebo is much of a simple project, but when you're talking about a larger project where, you know, usually in an office, the presentations that you do is based on how much, what do you call it now? Do I want to say worth a project is? Not worth in terms of money, but the importance. So the more important a project is, the more the more resources you're going to throw at it, right? So if Brittany then drop a big project on you day one and say, look, we need you to do a presentation for this project, right? Then the first thing you have to do, you have to start to divide up that work. Don't just jump and try to tackle everything solo. Divide up the work. And when we're saying that now, we're talking about, so, you know, like in pre-production, we're talking about the idea. Where do you want these views to be taken? What's the most important thing in this project? Does it have a story? You know, what is the vibe? Blah, blah, blah. That kind of stuff, right? Now, I'm going to just kind of skip ahead because we're going to be doing this next week, right? But that is what pre-production is. It is simply doing the planning stage, right? The next stage is production, and that is where you're actually in Lumion or in Blender or in Revit, right? If you got schematic sketches, and I think Brittany, you were saying that you need to now turn those into 2D drawings. So that process is in the production process. Now, it's important that you never start production without planning first. I mean, suppose Brittany, you went ahead and started to model all of these things in, I don't know, whatever, Revit. And then only to discover that, oh, but we had Revit models already. You know, how would that make you feel?
I don't even know, sir.
Exactly. So this is why, especially in large productions, you have to do your planning, right? What assets am I going to need? Guess what? Some assets cost money. You know, the client is very particular about having there's a river running through the site. You know, how are you going to build a river? I don't know. Maybe there's a river asset I can buy. Maybe I have to pay Archibald to come and model that river in what program you use again, Archibald? Blender, right? So all of that planning takes place in pre-production. Production is where you're actually doing the work, right? And it's also where you do, you know, R&D, research and development. What programs am I going to use to do this production, right? Am I going to use Lumion? Maybe you find out that nobody in the office uses Lumion. Everybody uses Enscape or whatever, right? So that is a part of production. And usually production requires more technical skills, you know. Anybody here loves to model in Revit? Maybe you love to model in Blender or, I don't know, 3D Max or SketchUp. Anybody here loves the modeling process? Well,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
okay, Steven, I know you
I
love the
I
modeling
do, sir.
process. So you talk about Blender all the time. What about Kamal? How do you feel about the modeling process? Is it something that you like to do or you can do it? Kamal, you there? No? Ah, that elusive mute button. Who else is here?
Sir, for the modeling aspect, I mean, I'm modeling in Revit, I'm modeling SketchUp. So it's not necessarily, is it something that I like to do? In a sense, it's not necessarily hard as long as you know exactly what to do and what you actually want to do.
Right. Is there anybody here who doesn't really like the technical aspect, the modeling and the, I don't know, the 2D drawing and the extruding and the subtracting and the, is there anybody here that doesn't like that stuff? Nobody?
So I would say I don't like it necessarily. I feel like it's just like I'm master a program before, and then it's like learning to use the next program, and it's like getting to like figuring out how to get what you want from the program. I feel that is the problem I have with the program.
That's right.
Right, so I think it's more to do with user interface and not really the program itself. Like some of the programs are good and they have good tools, but sometimes the user interface is just a bit clunky and things are hidden unnecessarily and stuff like that.
Well, it's for this reason why you have these three phases, because not everyone loves to spend hours in Photoshop, to get the sky the right hue and to place the exact entourage of a person doing exactly what you want them to do in the exact right position. Finding that perfect cutout to fit in this area, right? Or not everybody likes to plan, right? There are some people that just give me the model, right? I'll start to, what do I need to model? I'll jump into Revit and I'll do it. And that is where I'm getting at by saying, this is why, Brittany, when they throw this thing on you, don't try and jump to do everything, especially if it's a big project, because different persons have different strengths and weaknesses. So this is why even in the film world, think about an actor, I don't know, call her name. My virgin there. Denzel, right? Do you imagine Denzel is also sitting in front of Premiere Pro editing, I don't know, the movie that he's acting in? You get what I'm saying? Like, what I'm saying is that you might have different skill level in these different areas. And this is why for the final project, it's recommended to do it as a group. Because a person might be, they love to refine, they love to add sound effects and text and refine the images, enhance the images. Other persons, they like to model and they like to do technical stuff, work out, how can I create this building that has this weird shaped wall? What tool do I need to use? What program do I need to use? And then there are people that like to plan. Are there any planners here? You like to do more coordination? You like to see when everybody work together and, all right, Regina, I see your hand. Right. And that is also a skill. So what you find out is that this is why when you're doing any kind of production, it falls into these three phases, right? Because if you're a planner, it doesn't mean that you don't know how to use Revit or you don't know how to use Photoshop and you haven't gone through 4 years of architecture school or whatever. Everybody just gravitates to different things. And usually when you're in an office and you are dealing with I would say a major project, you want to lean on the skills that other persons have, right? So, and it doesn't mean that everybody's time is dedicated 100% to the project, because people are doing other things, right? But if Regina is a good planner and Archibald loves to model, right? And then who is the Photoshop person here? Who loves to use Photoshop and loves to add the final touches to things? Anybody? Nobody? Where are the Photoshop fans? And the video editing fans? Nobody? Nobody likes Photoshop?
So I'm more of a Lightroom person.
Doesn't matter. That's still a part of post-production. So, you know, there are persons that like to put the polishing touches on something, right? The polishing touch, dot the T, cross the I's, you know, make sure that the title is nicely set up, the audio sounds good, that kind of stuff. So usually when you're dealing with a big production, you want to find persons that fit in all of these three categories. The world is not perfect. That may not happen. So Brittany, when you walk into that firm, maybe everybody there loves to use Revit and nobody loves to use Photoshop. You just have to kind of work with the hand that you have been dealt. Is that how the saying goes, right? But still, you divide the work into these three phases so that you have clear boundaries. When you pass pre-production, you don't want to go back and plan again. You're done plan already. When you pass production, you don't want to go back into Lumion or Revit to model something. You're done model. You understand? So this is why you have these three phases. All right? And that is production. Now, as I said, next week I'll show most of these things. But this is where I want to focus on. I want to focus on post-production, right? Because that is what we're going to be. That is what we're going to be doing, right? Now, post-production, the word post means after. So after you have taken the pictures, if you're doing photography, after you have rendered the image or rendered the animation, if you're doing ArchViz, right? If you're in film, it's after you have shot all of the sequences, right? Those film people, they might like it. You guys knew that what was it? Was it the last James Bond that they shot in Jamaica? I believe. Anybody knew of that? One of the James Bond movie, recent one, the one with what's his name? Craig, that dude. Ring any bells for anybody?
Daniel Craig, sir?
Daniel Craig, right? That dude, right? Yeah. So they came to Jamaica to shot one of the scenes. I don't remember. I think it was the scene with the bar. I don't remember where they went to do it, right? But that is production. Then after they go all over the world and they shoot this thing, then they go to whoever in this room and they put all of the shots together, right? And that's the film world, right? So what we're going to look at today is post-production as it relates to architectural photography, right? So, and guess what? We're not going to be looking on Photoshop because I was thinking about it and I think you guys should be comfortable with Photoshop by now. I mean, you do it in DDM. We did it last year in advanced computing. I mean, we didn't do Photoshop, but you had to use Photoshop pretty heavily. So is it safe to say that everybody here kind of, yeah, they know Photoshop? It's not like experts necessarily, but you're comfortable in it. You can do some damage. Everybody here supposed to can do some damage in Photoshop. Right? Is that right, Manika? You can do some damage in Photoshop, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say damage, but
All right. So we're going to look at Lightroom as it relates to post-production. Just a little bit, not too much. Because like I believe that that if you're in architecture, you have to deal with images in some way, shape, or form, whether it's rendered images or camera images. And you don't have to take if you take an image with your phone or your camera, or you render an image from what's it called, from Twinmotion or something, you don't have to always take them into Photoshop. Photoshop is really for like when you want to get down to some serious editing business, you know. If you have, if you, I don't know. Let me just, Tara. I asked Tara Thomas already. Is the other Tara here? No, no, I don't see picture. No. Tara, how much pictures did you take on study tour? Tara Thomas. About how much? More than how much? Can you give me an estimate? Just rough.
So definitely more than 10. So it's fast.
I think you'd tell me more than 100.
Could be.
Exactly. I mean, and usually, I mean, for you to, even if it's 50, but for you to Photoshop 50 images, I mean, that's quite a task. You know what I mean? To Photoshop 50 images, right? So, usually when you're dealing with a large number of images, you normally use programs like Lightroom. For those of you that, let's see, a free version would be Darktable. That's an open source program like Lightroom. And there are others out there. I don't remember the name, but Lightroom is made by Adobe. So obviously it's going to be more popular, right? So we're going to take a look on that. Post-production in 3D rendering. I don't know if you guys remember this. Do you guys remember this from last semester, last year? When we spoke about compositing, render elements? Ring any bells? No? Okay. Not for anybody. So when you're rendering images, you can render different, what's called render elements, and then you can Photoshop them together, right? Well, we're not going to touch this back again because we did this already last semester. But don't worry, it will come back. This is how school works, you know. 3 years from now, 4 years from now, it will pop up again. And you're going to be, oh, yes, this is what Sir was talking about. Oh, yes, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it happened to me. It shall happen to you. Remember, you heard it here, right? So anyway, this is 3D compositing. This is another type of post-production as well, right? And of course, we have video, which we're going to be doing for the final project, right? So, right. So the point is that post-production happens after you have done the work. And when you are in post-production, that means you are no longer doing the work. The work already done. The picture done take, the thing done render, the movie done shoot, right? And when we're doing post-production, the type of programs that you are using are going to be either image editing, otherwise known as GFX, video editing, that's like using Premiere Pro, special effects, right? This is one that we don't really do in architecture. You know, we do this in movie. This is like, you know, like green screen. You ever see anybody on the back of a like have a green screen and then it appears that you're somewhere else? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? That's movie stuff. Right. So that is VFX, that's special effects. Or special effects also include motion graphics. So for example, when you see the text flying all over the place, or those music videos where you see just the text alone, that kind of stuff. All that is special effects, right? And then you have sound editing. And this is where, you know, you have where you put in your sound effects and that kind of stuff, right? So when you're doing post-production, you're using one of these or two of these or all of them, right? Now, you guys would have captured some footage from your assignment 4, right? So from that assignment, we're going to be doing some video editing. So we're going to be using this one, right? We're not going to do any special effects explosions or nothing like that. Maybe we'll do a little bit of text, but that's just about it, right? And this is what you need to do to submit assignment 4, right? Assignment 3, yes, you did have to put the clips together, but we didn't like some of the stuff we're going to learn here is going to be a little bit more, right? Especially when it comes to audio. All right, so I have a video to show you, and we're going to try and analyze it a little bit. Let me get my but before I show you the video, what time is it? Right. 7. So we're making good time. All right, good.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
the recording for you running through assignment 4. It was the week before last. You haven't uploaded that as it.
You are correct. I have not. Right, I have not. Sure, I will upload it. Definitely. So that it will help you guys out. All right. All right. Before we jump into the video part of this thing, I did promise to do a little bit of photography, right? A little bit of editing in photography, right? So you might ask yourself, if I took a really good picture, like, why do I need to carry it into Photoshop or Lightroom or whatever programs, right? So I went ahead and dug up some examples. Okay, where's my brain? I am looking for advanced computing 2. Right, here we go. And we're doing post-production photography, right? Right, so I have some pictures here, right? I'm gonna open like for this, right? I have some pictures here, and I think I showed you guys this one time already. Oops, not this one. Right. So I took this picture with an iPhone. Right. Right. And I don't know, it's kind of okay, right? This was a bathroom for a building that I was taking some photos of, right? The person recently decorated, renovated the bathroom. They had the tiles and all of that, and they wanted to put it I don't remember, on a website or something, right? All right. Okay, there we go. We're charging now. Right. Right. So can you guys see this photo? Okay, it should be clear. Is it blurred for anybody? Can you see it relatively clearly?
Yes.
Right. So I mean, this is an okay picture. Let's look at another one. Here's a picture of the kitchen area. So again, pretty okay picture, right? Now, do I have any more? Oh yeah, I like this one. Yeah, this was one of my favorites here. Another one here. And I mean, they look. I mean, what do you think, guys? Look okay. Can go on.
Yes, sir. Look believable.
So maybe you're saying, okay, you know, why do we need to carry this in Photoshop or whatever? Or in this case, I'm not showing Photoshop because, as I said, Photoshop is where you go when you need to do some, I would say, some serious edits. If you just need to kind of touch up a picture a little bit, make some minor modifications, or when you're dealing with a whole heap of pictures, like for example, this set that I took of this house, I took maybe more than 50 pictures. It would be super annoying to go into Photoshop for every single picture just to maybe make this plant a little green or something, right? So anyway, I'm gonna open up Lightroom, and I know some persons may not have heard of it, where other persons have used Lightroom. So Lightroom is kind of like, some people would say it's a stripped down version of Photoshop. There are things that it can do that Photoshop cannot do, I would say, reasonably efficient. Let's put it that way, right? More importantly, Lightroom is normally used with photographers, right? So if you're a person that likes to take pictures, then Lightroom is going to be your friend. So for example, when you render out an image in like Lumion or Twinmotion, maybe you would go to Photoshop to add people and trees and maybe, add some things like that. You would not do that in Lightroom. Lightroom is where you go to straighten the photo, add some basic enhancements, do some color correction, that kind of stuff. All right. So just a quick kind of demonstration here, right? Now, as I said, there isn't an assignment for Lightroom. Maybe that will come next semester, because I mean, some persons did say they wish they had used it more. Other persons say, they come to me after the fact and saying, well, sir, how comes you never teach Lightroom in DDM or whatever? Man, there's not enough time to learn everything, right? But there's a quick demonstration. So, in Lightroom, you have these title bars up, these headings up top, and these are like the major features of the program. So you have library and you have develop. Those are pretty much where you would normally use. Library is where you go to add pictures, and develop is where you go to edit the pictures, right? Develop comes from the term, remember back in the day, anybody know about film cameras? And in order to get pictures, you had to quote unquote develop the picture. You had to go into a dark room and you dip them in some liquid. And you ever see any movies that show you that? Any old school movies? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Am I alone here in this knowledge?
No, sir, we know about it.
You hear about it? Okay, all right. Not that old, not that bad. Anyway, that's where the term develop comes from. But anyway, this is where you go to edit. All right, so I'm going to add, in this case, I'm going to add this photo. I'm going to find it here and just drag it over. All right. Remember, this is not a Lightroom tutorial, so, I mean, but it is definitely a tool that I think you should raise your eyebrows at if you have never really dabbled into it, right? All right. So I'm going to import this picture here. I think I already imported it already. It's somewhere in these hundreds of pictures that I have here. I really need to, okay, let me just, here we go. I need to, Yes, I know. Okay, I can remove it though. Oh, okay, fine. No, can't reset it. All right, no problem. All right, let me just open a blank. Because what happened is that I've edited a bunch of photos, and let me just go to a new catalog so that I don't have to delete all the stuff that I had already. There we go. Right, I think this is it now. Good, everything is empty. All right, let's do this again. Let's go to the library here, and which photo did I pick? I picked this one. Drag it in here. There we go. Oops, too big. Right. So it's asking me which photos do I want to add. As a matter of fact, let me just add all of these. These are some other photos that I took. Just for demonstration purposes. I think this was the kitchen one. And I'm going to add these as well. I'll leave this one out for now. All right, cool. I'm going to import. All right, good. So I'm going to go over to develop, and this is where you go to edit the pictures, right? So on the left-hand side is where you have, like, for example, you can put the pictures into libraries, so you can save them like what I had before. So you can save libraries, kind of like playlists. When you're listening to music, you want to put some of your music in one playlist so you can listen to it again. It's the same kind of thing. But over here is where we're focusing on. So these down here, these are the photos. And let's say this photo here is what we're seeing, right? Let me make this a little bigger. All right. So one of the first things that you can quickly do in Lightroom is you can straighten photos. Like if you notice, the photo is slightly lean. Anybody see that? Slightly lean? Anybody can see that in these lines?
Yes.
So you can go into Photoshop and do this, but it's such a small thing. So here is where you do the editing in Lightroom. So you have the edit icon here, and then everything below this is things you can edit. Think of this as different categories. So let me minimize them. So you can edit basic settings, tone curve, color, detail, lens, all of this stuff. In this case, we want to edit transform, and we can just use this auto straighten feature, or we can use we can manually like tilt the image and change the rotation. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're just going to use the auto. Oops, wait, I need to reset it. Use the auto. I think the auto does kind of straighten it a little bit. Looks a little lean. Let me do some tweaking here. There we go. All right, and then I need to cut off this little part down here so I can go to the crop tool here and just crop off that little area there. All right, what else can we do? Well, usually, remember, Lightroom is normally for making the pictures, enhancing them, not necessarily editing them, like cutting out this plant and doing that stuff you do in Photoshop. So this is where it's like a little bit about creativity, like what would you want to enhance in this image? And this is different for different people. In this case, let me go to basic. I might want to change a little bit of the basic color options. So maybe I can increase the shadows. So what shadow does is areas that is in shade, like these areas around the pot, anywhere in the image that is in shade, when you increase shadow, it just targets those dark areas and makes it brighter. Which it's kind of a unique feature because Photoshop, I'm not going to say it doesn't have this, but it doesn't have it in this way. Let's put it this way. Right. The way that Photoshop does it is not very efficient. So you might want to increase like the contrast a little bit. Decrease the black areas. These are just like things that you can edit. But generally, let's say you want to do some effects now. So okay, for example, like the chrome on these pots look very nice. And you might want to beef them up a little bit because you want to get that silvery kind of reflection. Maybe the stove area here. I wish I had Lightroom. I think the first day I went to my first job, I think I told you guys I had to take pictures of these projects that was done by the office. I had to drive around Jamaica to take the pictures. And I mean, I didn't use Lightroom. I'm sorry I didn't have it in those days. But anyway, right. So let's say we want to enhance these chrome areas. Well, Lightroom has a masking feature which is similar to Photoshop. But if you're using Lightroom like from I think 2022 and up, they kind of enhanced it to make it easier to mask out certain elements. So let me go with just a brush mask this time. And what a mask is, you're simply highlighting areas that you want to edit only. So I'm only drawing these on where these shiny surfaces are. Maybe like this stainless steel stove. Maybe this hood. Oops, I think I might have gone a little bit extra there. If that is the case, you can hold Alt and just erase. But I don't want to go up there. I just want to stick to the shiny surfaces. Yeah, I think. Good. Now that I have masked can you guys see these areas in red? You should be able to see it on your zoom, right? You guys see it?
Yes, sir, I can see.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So with these areas selected, now in the whatever I change here will only affect this red area. So I can do things like I can increase the exposure. And if you notice, it's only in those areas it's increasing. Obviously that is too much, so I'm not going to increase the exposure, but clarity is a nice one. I'm going to just do it extreme so you can see it. Can you see the clarity increasing or decreasing? I don't know. The change is subtle, so I'm not sure if you're seeing it through Zoom.
We're seeing it through.
Innocent.
All right. Texture. This is like if you want to bring out like the texture. In this case, like the reflection. So it's like it's being more shiny. I can make it more hazy, which can give it a little glow. Like you can see that little shimmer right there on the pot. What else can I do? I could also increase the exposure, but that's going to beef it up too much. I think maybe that's fine.
The tone curves, sir.
I mean, yeah, if I want to mess with it, I'm gonna do what time is it? I'm gonna fly through this pretty quickly because I want to show two other features, but I want to jump to the animation, which is what's gonna give you your grade, right? So I don't want to linger here too much. But yeah, I could go further and do more stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I wanted to show two other little things. for example, when you're doing like shots in the night, right? So a good thing to enhance in Lightroom is lights. So for example, you see this light that I have here that's on. I could use the mask tool again, and I'm going to put the plus here to add another mask. I'm going to use the brush again. These are like, this will auto select different things. So for example, if I had a person, all right, let me, hold on, it's detecting. Okay, so I could select like this vase and it will auto just highlight it for me, but I don't want to do that, so I'm going to undo. Right. In this case, I want to use the brush again, and I want to select this light like that. Then I might want to increase the exposure on the light so it looks like it's, you know, giving that extra glow, right? Then I don't know, let me do another mask again, and then I think I can, what's the shortcut for this thing again? Where's size? There we go. Right, make the mask a little bigger, and I can do like a glow, so it will affect only this area. So in this area, I want to change like maybe my color temperature. So you might notice it's getting a little bit more yellow. Maybe increase the contrast a little bit, or maybe not. I don't know. You're going into the objective zone now. So this is just about how you want to use your creativity to further enhance the image. Some people like the redness of the pots and stuff like that. I'm not going to edit this anymore because you can really spend hours doing just little tweaks and things like that. And then overall, maybe just increase contrast just a little bit more like that. And I'll leave it at that. Now, the thing about Lightroom is that, like, I have this other picture here, and I want to do the same thing. I want to increase the contrast and maybe straighten the image and do all that stuff. And imagine I had, like, I don't know, 10 pictures of the kitchen. Well, what I can do, I can just copy the settings from one picture by going to, here we go, copy settings. And you can choose what you want to copy. I'm just going to, so the transform, I can copy that. I'm not copying the masking because these lights are in different positions. I'm going to copy that, and I can go here. So I could have selected all of these pictures and just click paste. And then all of the tweaks that I did to one image, it will apply to the rest of them. So where is it? Yes, okay. Of course, the alignment for that picture is not going to work for this picture, so maybe I shouldn't have copied that. Anyway, I can just reset it and just go to auto. Oh, actually auto, yeah, auto is kind of weird with this picture. So this is one that I would maybe tweak manually, you know, just to get the lines straight. Right, maybe like
I'm sure there's an icon there. I can do it even better on the left hand side there, so that.
Oh, right. I haven't even used that one as much, but yeah. And then we can go in and increase like the contrast, and because maybe even though you copy stuff from one image to the next, like these images are pretty similar, but the masking and that stuff wouldn't be copied, right? All right, so that is basic photo enhancement, right? And trust me, like, there's so much more that I could do, but I'm not going to go into all of that. Another very important thing that you can do with Lightroom that you can't really do with Photoshop is panoramic images. So if you look at this image that I took of this apartment complex, I took one image there, one image here, and one down there, because I couldn't really catch all of that in one shot. So I had to take it in 3 different shots. Like these two are pretty similar. So this almost captures the rest of the building, but I couldn't fit and couldn't get the space here and here, so I had to take in 2 shots. So with Lightroom, I can select both shots. I can right click and go to merge and click panorama. And then Lightroom will actually automatically stitch. Now I know programs on the phones can do this kind of stuff, but the way that Lightroom does it is like really good. So this is the photo that is now stitched, right? And you can click to fill the edges and it will fill the edges for me, right? And depending on how you took the image, you can use spherical or cylindrical, it's up to you, right? And you can choose how you want to warp it. You can warp it slightly, you know, because remember when you're doing panoramas, it's like a fish eye. Image is kind of bending a little bit. And then I would choose merge. And you can see it up here loading. And there you go. So, and I mean, if you even try and look, like, it does a really good job of stitching images together by the click of a button. I can't even tell where it was stitched. Can you guys tell? Or is it just me?
And so I think it also doubles the resolution too as well.
Exactly. Because it would add it would add more pixels to that image, right? And then I can go ahead now and edit this image. And I'm not going to do that. I mean, this image wasn't even taken that good because of the white balance, so it looks slightly kind of weird in the color. But a good use for this is especially for elevations, guys. If you ever, like, for example, this image here of this building, this is a long building, and then right behind me is another building. So there's no way for me to capture this entire building in just one shot. So I had to capture it in 3 different shots, right? So of course I can now merge this together. And there you go. And I can choose fill edges. Now, of course, when you merge it together, you're going to get that fisheye effect. And remember, I was telling you that Lightroom is for enhancing photos and doing this stuff. If you want to, what's the word? Unwarp this image, then you need to go to the real heavy hitter. And who is the heavy hitter? Which program is the heavy hitter to do this?
Sir, I can debate on the case of Lightroom, sir.
Okay, so you could use Lightroom to like unwarp this. All right, no problem.
Yes, sir.
I think it could eventually. I mean, by maybe looping settings over and over again. I guess. But
yes, sir. If you go to the transform settings, you can do it manually.
Okay. Hold on. Let me try that. I always want to.
No, I mean lens corrections, sir. Lens corrections out there, so.
Right, but it doesn't.
That
doesn't.
one.
It doesn't. This is so much warping that the lens correction wouldn't be enough. Like even if you, where's that manual thing? Manual, right?
To the right.
So, oops. No. This is
Top
lens
one, sir. That one.
This one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, distortion. Right. It's not. If it wasn't so warped, like the other image, maybe. But you want more capabilities to edit here. No, I'm not going to like unwarp it for you and show you everything in doing that. I would take too much time. But as it relates to doing elevations, especially for really long buildings, Lightroom is great for stitching it together, and then you take it to Photoshop if it is really warped. And then Photoshop has some better tools to deal with that extreme warping, I would say. I thought I placed it in that folder, but I think I didn't. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Right. So this is it now, unwarped. And I mean, this is a pretty long building, but you are able to now get a nice elevation shot of a really long building, right? So this wouldn't, I mean, if I tried to manually stitch this, it would take hours and hours. But Lightroom just gives me a nice clean stitch, and then Photoshop gives me the ability to use the warp tool to unwarp it. All right. Okay. Last tip, guys, for using Lightroom for architectural photography again. All right. This is a type of a way of taking shots that's called bracketing. Anybody ever heard of bracketing? The term bracketing? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, cool. So what it is really is just taking the same shots at different exposure. So for example, this shot is nice because it shows me all of the details in the trees and everything. But then what you notice over here is that it's totally blown out. Like everything here is white. I can't make out anything here. But here I can see everything, right? This is the opposite. This one now, I can see all of these areas nice and clean. But I can't see the areas with the tree, right? And this is a common thing that you get in photography. You know, like you're taking a picture through a glass and it's a sunny day. Even like this kitchen shot here, you can't really see what is behind the kitchen because it's so bright and inside is so dark. So, now the reason that this process is called bracketing, why it's a feature, is of course you could like hold your phone in your hand and take different shots of this building at different brightness levels, but your hand will shift, definitely. So usually the camera device that you have would have to support a feature that can just rapidly take pictures at different exposure levels, right? I guess you could do it with your hand if you were to put your phone on a tripod or put it on the ground or something, and then maybe remotely, because you have to touch the phone to take the picture. And when you touch the phone, that's when it will shift. So that is the trick with doing this kind of shot. Anyway, the great thing about this is that you can now combine these pictures together to get a, what you call a high dynamic range image. I don't know if you remember this image I showed you guys in digital design media. Anybody remember that term? High dynamic range image? Anybody? Nobody.
Yes, sir. HDR.
Okay, just kings alone. Okay. Anyway, so with Lightroom, I can combine, like, let's take maybe not the brightest one, maybe the second to brightest one. So over here is blown out, but I can see here clearly. And take the darkest one. And maybe I can even take one in between. Doesn't really matter. And I can just do another photo merge and do a HDR merge. And what this will do it will merge all of the images together, which it doesn't look like nothing much now, right? But what it's actually doing, it's overlaying the images so that you can have a wider dynamic range. So what do I mean by that? Well, let it merge. Right. So now the three images are combined. So for example, let's see. If I well, not increase the exposure, maybe if I carry down the exposure, I can start to see this part here. But if I carry the shadows up, now I can see the trees a little bit better, right? Maybe like that. I have more range in the whiteness. So for example, I can carry my white areas down and carry my exposure up. Maybe like that. Right, not too bright. What else can I do? I can carry my highlights down a little, carry up the exposure, carry down the contrast. Right now I'm just tweaking these and just watching what it looks like when it tweaks. But if you look on this image, here is not blown out anymore. And at the same time, I'm seeing all the detail in the trees. And that's because I was able to combine a bright photo with a dark photo. Now, there's other things that I could do with this. Like, the image is a little lean, so of course I could go back to the called the transform. And I could just do, let me just use auto to make it vertical. What else could I do? Well, the sky looks a little pale, so I could use the mask tool, and it has a nifty sky feature. So it will actually detect the sky for me and highlight it for me. All right, which is pretty cool. And I can make that I could increase the saturation, I guess. Make it nice and blue. Right? I mean, I'm not going to go into all of the things I can tweak, but basically I have more leverage to tweak this image because I have merged the images together. So those are three, I would say, post-production features for doing photography, especially in architecture, right? There is the basic enhancement, right? There is the panorama where you can merge multiple images together. And it is really useful when it comes to generating elevations, right? Especially of long buildings, very helpful. And then there is the HDR feature where you can combine images at different exposures so that you can have a nice image here. All right. All right. So what do you guys think? You want to use Lightroom now?
Sir, it's actually good, sir.
All right. Well, I hope that you guys use this kind of thing because you can use this for your renderings as well. When you render an image, you can carry it here as well. Especially when you put photographs on your sheets, I think you should always try to run them through Lightroom first so you can edit them. All right. So we're not going to touch 3D post-production because we did this already, right? Last semester. So let's take a look on the video editing side of things, right? And there's one part of video editing that I want to focus on. Not necessarily using the software. I think most of us kind of know how to do that. I want to talk about the art side of things. So I want to show you this video. I guess it's a little old, but I like to use it because I think it is one of the best adverts, even though it's not architecture, but it is a product that is designed and produced. It's not a building necessarily, but I think it's an excellent example of post-production, right? I can just bring it up here.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to
All right. Now let's all go out and buy some surfaces. How does that sound? Right? All right. So what did you guys think?
Lovely, sir. Lovely.
All right. What about the other people? Tara, what do you think? You want a surface now?
So me? Oh, I'm the only Tara here. So it's actually the song just make me think of Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Because I think I heard that in Willy Wonka, but it's an interesting video because the music, since I know it, then I want to see what they use it or what is showing with that song. So
Oh, really? That song is in Willy Wonka? I didn't know that. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I learn new things every day. I mean, granted, this is an old version. Like this video is from like, I don't know, 2015 or something like that. I don't know. It was that old. But anyway, it is just an example. I want to show you one key part of when you're doing the editing. And this is actually something that will mark for as well, right? I'm using Premiere just to show an example. It's not a tutorial per se, right? I'm using Premiere just to highlight the audio, right? Because perhaps some of us, we know how to manipulate, a video editing program you know, it have a timeline, you put video clips on it and you press play. And when you press play, it will just play the video, right? Wait a minute. Is it playing the video? Is it? Were you hearing the audio a while ago? I don't think so. Guys?
Yes, sir.
Hold on, you were hearing the audio? Oh, I wasn't hearing it. Audio hardware.
Yes, sir. It was pretty loud.
Oh wow. Okay. Have to put it out through. Which one am I using? Is it this one? I think it's that. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, this one. Yeah. All right, cool. All right. Were you hearing it a while ago as well?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Now, this is what I want to show you. This is the other aspect of editing that I want you guys to watch out for, right? And I want to see you guys do this when you're handing in the assignment 4, right? Now, when you play your video clips, I want you to pay attention to the audio. And some of you might do this already because this might come naturally to you, but for those of you who this concept is new to, right? This is something that I would specifically be looking out for when marking assignment 4, right? Now, when you watch this video without, can I play without the audio? Yes, I can mute it. Mute the audio. Right. And I'm gonna make this a little bigger. Yeah. Now, when I play this without the audio, you can see, you know, the different segments. It shows the intro of the device and the screens coming together, and then this here, right? But when you just look at the audio tracks, where is my pen? There we go. You might notice these areas here, maybe like here. So if I highlight them, here is a peak right here. Here's another one. Here's another one. This is interesting because this goes down and then it goes up back, right? And then this goes down and then it's up again. And then here's another dip. And then there's another dip. There's another rise at the end, right? All right. So you guys are seeing where I'm highlighting these. Now, this is where the tone of the music track changes, right? And this is where you can try to evoke some emotion out of your viewers. And it doesn't matter whether you're watching an advert for a new computer or a new building, right? Whenever you choose some kind of background music, you always try to formulate your clip to go with the music. So remember these areas that were highlighted. Let's see what happens when those areas play. Oops, I deleted it. Why did I do it? Undo. Right. There we go. All right. So you guys are, hold on, let me unmute it. All right. So let's check out the first one, which is right here. All right. So let's roll the clip. I guess I can't move this because it's lined up here. But you guys can see my screen, right? Hopefully. Make this a little bigger. All right, so look out for the first one that's coming here. So who can tell me what happens at this point?
Sure, there was a fade to another video.
Right. And there's also like a little bit of an explosion that happens right at this point, right? But the key thing is that that happens right at a particular point in the song. So what is happening in the video is in sync with what is happening in the audio. Let's check out the other point that we have here. So let's go again from the top.
And it also acts like a transition, sir, in the music.
Exactly.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
And notice that part when she says, come with me, you see kind of see this streak for the LED that does that. If you listen to that again.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination.
This is for the next one now.
We'll begin with a spin.
All right. So you hear that strong shift in the music a while ago. And that happened right as when it transitioned to how this device comes together. All right. So there is also the tone of what you're hearing, that heavy kind of tone. And also what you're seeing the device come together as well.
We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation.
All right, let's check out this part right here now.
If you want to view paradise.
Okay, so I know you guys definitely saw that one, right? So you can kind of feel when everything just goes, and then right at the point as the person uses their finger to show maybe something, I don't know, amazing about the product. Oh, you can use one finger to just make the thing go down. It just hits you with the audio track all at the same time. Right? So let me play that part again. Listen for it.
If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it.
All right. All right. So I guess, I don't know, you guys get the idea, right? Jeremy, you got it?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. It's very
Cinematic.
video.
Cinematic. Cinematic.
Cinema. Yeah, that's the word, sir. That's the word.
That's the word we have been carrying. And that's the thing. I mean, there's a psychology to it. I mean, you watch this video. I like, they did a bunch of others that I didn't like, but they did one in 2019 that I think is almost as good as this. Whoever they have at Microsoft with their zillions of dollars, they definitely have somebody good doing these ads, because like when you look at the other products like the ASUS and all these other ones, for some reason Microsoft ones are a little better. But the only good one that I've seen is the one I think in 2019. I think that was of the another Surface laptop. The others are like, I don't know, because maybe because of this age of everything is a production, so it's hard to see things in the over the noise. But this one still kind of stands out. And it's because think of this as like waves. Imagine like you're surfing, right? Whenever there's a wave that's coming for you, you want to show something on your screen that hits your audience, something important. So, like in this entire audio track, perhaps the most noticeable dip is here, right? If even if you don't know what the track is, what the music is, like this track, right? This area right here is like, whoa, what's happening here? Like if you were surfing, you would be like, whoa, this is like a monster wave. And if this stands out to you as a major element in the track, then you want to know, couple that with a major thing that you're showing, right? So in this case, it was the fact that, oh, when you touch the screen, it goes down as well, right? So that is something to look on as well, right? Let me see. No, they use this in like, well, in this case, it's product design. And obviously, after you watch this, it's like, now go out and spend thousands of dollars buying our new product. For you guys, it is supposed to be, aha, now I want you to, you're telling the client, oh, I want you to give me this contract to do this building, right? So I want to show you uh, examples here. Ta-da. Where are you, presentation? You are
The
here.
time is 9:01 p.m.
Right.
There are no events scheduled for tomorrow.
That's it. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to show you another example here. If I can, all right, I did put it in this folder. Right. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. I found it. All right, so show you another video again. This was another one that I worked on. There we go. Hear it? Oh. But I didn't see it. No, that is not it. Definitely that is not it. Let's find another one. All right, listen for those cues in the music again that we just talked about. All right. Now, question. Did you guys notice any specific change in the tone throughout this animation? Anybody? That's still with us?
So it changed at certain points in the music.
All right. And do you remember what point? All right, I'm just gonna give it to you because we are going down on time, but one of the points is here. Now, in this case, I mean, it doesn't have explosions and like, it's not like a Marvel movie or something. But this particular building was important. So listen for the change in music. I'm started from here. Everything is just kind of, how do you put it now? Normal. Right. And then here, and here, coming up. So do you hear that change in you can hear it kind of building slightly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, I mean, because I work with the project, I know the differences with these buildings. It's really these large buildings, but this building was, it had a particular importance to the client. Now, without even the client noticing, when he watches this part of the video, his mood starts to change because the music changes at that point. It takes it up a notch. It doesn't it's not like it does a little explosion thing like the surface. But the tone of the music change. So it changes your psyche even without you knowing it. But because this building is of sort of importance, this is one of the major buildings that they're creating, and it's the first one that's going to be created. And it is what the client is waiting to see. Like, it's like, this one is the one that's going up first. Now, I know that because I am on the team that's producing the animation. And in knowing that in the post-production stage, we say, hey, we have to change the music here. We have to take it up a notch when it shows this building. So I don't know if you've ever watched like a trailer before, like a trailer for a movie. The trailer does this, like but the trailer is like it's like you take a shot in the arm of like adrenaline, you know? In architecture, it's not so crazy, like a wild trailer. But you can play with the music and change what you're seeing on screen to evoke emotion with your viewers. So when the tone changes right here, this is part. Hear the drums kind of coming in. It's not that much. But then the other tone now is this building, and this building is the last building that's going up. And let me play it for you. This is how everything sounds. Here, pick it up. All right, so do you guys notice that change as well, right?
It was a more subtle change, sir.
Right. So it goes from a more exciting tone to like this very quiet tone. But what you're seeing also, you're seeing the building. There's only like one guy walking. So if you notice the previous shots, there's people, there's cars, there's hustle, bustle, shopping, all of this stuff. But here, you hear the birds and you see this one tree and it's very like more calming kind of a thing, right? So it changes the mood to like a more, I guess you could say, peaceful kind of tone, right? And yes, the music changes, but then the important thing is that what you're seeing also change. So in your brain, that connection is being made. And if you know how to balance those two right, I mean, as I said, like cinematography is a bit like psychology. It's like you're playing with psychology, right? At the end of that surface advert, subconsciously you feel like you want a surface. I mean, that's the whole aim. And how they did that to you, they changed the pictures and they use the appropriate picture for the appropriate parts of the music. And in your brain, that connects everything together in a way that is, what's the word? Pleasing? Maybe more than pleasing. Euphoric, I guess. Right. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of highlight those two changes here. And as you can see, it's not a big thing, but the point I'm trying to get at is when you guys are putting together your footage, right? You're going to be using some audio that is going to be given to you. I think I'm changing them out. I try to change them every year. 2024, right. So these are the ones that I'm giving to you. No, you you can only for this assignment 4, you can only use these audio clips, by the way. So you can't just go online and download, I don't know, the latest music or whatever. You're only going to pick from these 4 tracks. Everybody clear on that?
Sure, this is on the
Yes, sir.
website, right?
Right. It is on the handout. I'm actually updating the link. No. Where is it? Assignment 4. Oh crap, boy. No, where is it? It's here. Student.
So you said we have to use one of those music video music songs, sir.
Right, that is correct.
Oh,
So there's a
which
link.
assignment?
Assignment 4. I'm about to show you. So I'm going to delete
Sir,
those.
what if I already use another audio?
Well, I did mention to wait before you add the audio for this class, right? No, man. I mean, look, everybody has to use the same audio because that is how we every music is different. Like if you play heavy metal music and another person plays, I don't know, a gospel music, like no, I don't want that. It's just one, well, not one, but these 4 types, and you can only pick from those types. Let me look on the handouts because there is I think the link is there. Let me see when you go to the class website. Advanced Computing 2. Oops, wrong place. Advanced Computing 2. There we go. Assignment 4. Here we go. Right. Final video should include music or sound effects. Oh, it's down here. There it is. Music assets. You must pick one from this library. Okay. So when you go here, you'll hear them. They're pretty straightforward, and you've heard them already. Crap, it's not playing because I'm playing it in Chrome. Okay. You've heard these music already. It's only 1 minute long. Anybody recognize that too?
So I was just about to say those are your type music, sir, and they will start coming in the class then.
Well, it's not.
It's like a
But
your
yeah,
genre of music, then, sir.
right. Every semester I try to change it, so so it doesn't get boring. But yeah, basically, yeah, and these have a specific beat, and I want to show you that as well. And if I go in Premiere and I drag one of these here, no, it's a little close. Zoom in. There you go. Now, imagine you're surfing again, right? Dum, dum, dum. Like you can see these points here. Every time something happens at these points, maybe this one, maybe that one, is an opportunity for you to change something that's happening on screen. If you change it and it doesn't change with these points, it's a missed opportunity. And it's like you're riding a wave and you kind of just lose your balance and fall in the water. Or it's like you're playing football and or it's like you're on a roll and you just drop off, right? So it's like these tunes, these is an ability for you to change aspects of the music. And I'm going to show you an example. So for example, let me delete that. This is using Premiere. The reason, let me look if what's it called? Clipchamp. I don't know if Clipchamp will show you the sound wave. That's why I wasn't sure about it. Let me see if it does. If it's not showing you, I don't know, you're gonna have a harder time to do this. Because this is something that I will actually mark for. Create new video. All right. Let me drag this down here. Let me drag this here. It doesn't really, it does kind of show you, but it's kind of insignificant. Do you guys notice that? It doesn't really show you the sound wave. I mean, when you click on it, you kind of see it. Can you guys see it on the Zoom?
Yes, sir.
But it's just not as accurate. Oh, it's not going to play because I'm on Zoom and this is not playing through Zoom. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, if you're using something like Premiere, it's a little bit more noticeable, right? Because you can make this bigger. Because even if it's small like that, you can make this bigger and then it can help you to plan. So let's do an example, right? So let me see. Which one am I going to use? Let's see which one of these are good. Oh, hold on, let me play it in VLC so that both of us can hear it. They're a little bit exciting, but that's okay. I tend to give you guys a little bit more excitement for these because it gives you a bit more opportunity to play around a little bit. All right, I'm only going to do a quick example here, but let's say I'm using this one. So I'm going to drag this out here. And right away, I see those sound waves. Even if I don't know the music, like I can see definitely that this have some, like, look at this dip right here. That looks pretty cool. Let me see what that sounds like. Right. So all I require you guys to do, and here's another dip here. All right, so there's another dip here and another dip here. All right, so you should have a bunch of video clips, right? And they should be push in, pull out, parallax, rise up, reveal. It should be all of these. So you should have 10 clips. So you have 10 clips to play with, right? Now, in my case, I'm going to use where are those clips? Come on, computer. These are not renderings. These are images. I thought I had some. Okay, I'm gonna grab some clips from somewhere. I don't know where. Okay, I'm gonna grab some clips from that example that I showed earlier. If I can find those clips. Ah, here they are. Yes, I found them. Okay, I'm gonna put them here and call them video. There we go. Hopefully they shouldn't be too big. It's 1.5 gigs. Well, there are a lot of them, that's why. All right, so I have here, oh, I actually have 10 clips. No, I have more than 10. Okay. All right. So you guys should have 10 clips, right? So this is a good example, actually, because I have 10 clips here. I'm going to delete these that I don't need. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 10 clips. So you guys should also have 10 clips. Now, each of these clips are the videos that I just showed you. So here is a clip of that shot here. It's perhaps, it's what? It's about 10 seconds long. Here's another clip. This is another one that I showed earlier. So this is what the end of the production process looks like. Like when you finish rendering, you should have these clips here. Right? They don't need to, like, they just need to be video clips without any sound, but it should be clips that you planned to do, right? All right. So with these clips and my trusty program, what I'm going to do is drag them. Here we go. Right. I need to drag them in Premiere. In this example, I'm using Premiere. Come on. Hello, you don't want to go. We go one at a time. No? Okay. That's weird. Okay, fine. I'll drag them down. MP4, MP4. Why don't you want to import? All right. Let me do it the hard way. Oh, I know why. Because my path is too long. Oh, Lord. Okay. I'm going to put it on my desktop. Desktop. Okay, there we go. All right. It should work now. Let's see. I'm going to put my clips here. And yes. All right. All right. So these video clips that you have, there should be, as I said, push in, pull out, parallax. And if you notice, even in this production video that I did, they have the same name. So in this case, I have a parallax wide angle shot. Looks like that. It's bigger than the image though. So I need to, well, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new sequence. Okay. Go again. All right, good. All right, good. And I'm going to put what were we using? We were using this one. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, so this parallax wide angle shot, I'm going to drag this here. So if I play this, All right, so I want to cut to a different shot using any one of these peaks because it is an opportunity for me to change from one shot to another. So let's see this. All right. So right at this point, so this peak right here would be a good place to change. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just drag this to be shorter like that. And then I'm going to take another clip. Maybe this one is my, I don't know. I'm just grabbing one at random to drag here. All right. All right, let's see what that sounds like. All right. Now, right at that spot would be a good opportunity for me to change again. Now, I'm just dragging the clips randomly, but you can choose one that best fits what you're trying to show. So, how about this one? No. How about this one? Maybe this one? No, I used that one already. This one. All right. All right, but check out this part. I actually have, can you guys see these dips right here?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I wanted to be a little bit extra, this is a little too quick though, but just as an example, let me just do this as an example. Wouldn't recommend it because it's a little too quick, but I could like drag this one here and get it right about here. So this one takes that peak and drag this one here. This one takes that peak. And then drag this one here to take the rest. All right, now let's see what that looks like. All right, you guys get the idea, right? All right, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are here, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm watching, sir.
All right, good. Because I'm just making sure because when I leave you guys are on your own to do this part. So those clips that you guys generated from the exercise we did last week, and don't worry, that video, I will put that up tonight when this video finish uploading. I'll just do both of them. You're going to pick one of these sound clips and you're going to lay them out and you're going to make them go along with the clip. Now you can choose any point that you want to use. Like you don't have to do this fast one here. You could do it much slower, right? So for example, it could be this. Right? So you could have something like this. Right? But what I'll be looking for how much you guys align the appropriate video with the appropriate areas in the audio track. All right? I mean, this is something very basic that you got, just like how when I told you guys, when you go to take videos or pictures, you should hold your phone a certain way. You should consider rule of thirds. You should consider all these things that we talked about in the module. These things should be standard to you guys because architecture is art and science, so this is the art part. Like you guys should by default apply these basic techniques whenever you're doing any kind of production. All right. All right. So this was talking about post-production, right? We're kind of focused in that area. Here we go. Right. We're kind of focusing in the post-production segment, which is here. Right. And we kind of spoke about how you do these things, both in images and in photos, right? So in images and in animations. So next week, what we're going to discuss is your final project, right? That will be the last hurdle, right? And as I said, your final project is going to be based on your design studio work, right? So you can use content from your design studio to produce your final project. All right. Show. Where is it? Now, we're going to talk about it next week. Let's do that next week, right? But here are some things that I want you guys to think about. Are you going to be working in a group or are you going to be working as individual? Next class, if you are working in a group, you need to have your group ready to roll. We do have a class activity. Where is it? Here we go. Right. Here we go. Where is my slideshow? It's too big. No. Slideshow. Sentence zero. I don't know.
Sir, for our final project, it's maximum 3 people in the group, or it's whatever we want.
That is correct. 3 people maximum. I'm about to show you, finally. Here we go. All right. Okay, so the expression of architecture through a story can allow an audience to experience aspects of, let's say, your design well beyond the pragmatic layer of drawings and images, right? So apart from your elevations and your technical information, showing your design as some kind of cinematic experience, it adds another layer to what you're trying to convey, right? So throughout this course, you have been exposed to new cutting-edge media forms and approaches that are currently being used to enhance communication in architecture. So your job is to create an architectural film using a combination of 3D animated visuals. When I say live action footage, it might be maybe you guys went, I'm sure you guys did site visits, so you probably captured videos of the site, images of the site. I'm sure you guys probably have some kind of diagrams that you use on your sheets. Maybe you have sketches, photographs of physical models, whatever content that you guys have of your project, right? I want you to use that along with the 3D animated visualization to express a connection of your architectural concept and your design project. So if your design project, in this case, it is you said it's a dental center, a medical facility. Tell me what it is this time around.
So dental school.
It's a dental school, exactly. So I'm sure for you guys to have worked out your project, what were the main contributing factors? How did you come up with your concept? Is your dental school shaped like a banana? So the banana is the concept and it's yellow because, I don't know, you get what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is that you give me a video, a film that shows your concept and how your concept kind of led you to the design, right? So it's not about showing just the design. It's not about it's not an architectural walkthrough of your project. That is what it is definitely not. So you're not going to render your entire project and do a walkthrough of the front and walk through the front door and show me the lobby area and then show me, no. That's not what I want. What I want is for you to, if your dental school was inspired, maybe you want to uplift a community, right? You're putting the school maybe in an area that you're trying to achieve a particular outcome, right? Then how do you express that in a video? You're free to use any clips from anywhere. You don't have to worry about copyright strikes in school. So if you choose to use a video of, I don't know, of that somebody else took of New Kingston or a drone shot of New Kingston, it's totally up to you. We're not going to publish it, so there is no, what do you call it, copyright infringement, right? You're free to use any kind of sound effects, audio, music, anything, all right? These are the things that I want you to remember. Some of them we're talking about plot and storyboarding next week, right? Which is our last class. So that one you haven't experienced yet. And the only reason for that, guys, is remember, we kind of missed, let me see. Right, we missed a class on Monday. Right. So that is what kind of pushed me back a little bit, but we're still there. Remember what you learned about infographics? Maybe some of you have some infographics that you're planning to put on your sheets. Use it in your video, right? Maybe some of you took some videos of the site. Totally up to you. Remember audio and video editing? We just did that. Remember rules of composition, that kind of stuff. These are like just the kind of pillars that we learned during the module. Okay, you may choose to work in group or individual. Maximum group members is 3. If you have 3 group members, 1 person is production, 1 person is post-production, and 1 is pre-production, right? If 3 of you are working in a group, then you need to select 1 project from whichever one of you. Everybody clear on that? So I don't want to see you doing 3 different projects. All right. You guys following so far? Did I miss any questions in the chat?
Yes, sir. Following.
Okay, cool. All right. If you choose to work as an individual, then you are responsible for pre-production, production, and post-production, right? We spoke about post-production today, and pre-production and production, well, production, you know what that is. I don't need to teach that. That is the actual modeling and the work. Production is what you're actually doing to present is what you're doing for your design studio. You're doing drawings, you're doing modeling, you're doing rendering. That's not something that we learn in advanced computing too. Pre-production, we're going to do that next week. How do you plan for this? If the three of you are working in a group, who is planning to do what? Right? So we'll talk about that next week. But you have the choice whether you want to be in groups of 3 or an individual, right? Required elements. So what you're required to have, you must have a 3D model. So you can't make a movie and it's just video clips of the site and pictures and diagrams. It has to include some form of 3D model. Cool? It must have a form of real. When I say real, meaning not fantasy, not cartoon and spaceships and stuff like that. It can have it, but it must include some real live action elements, whether in the form of video or images, right? So basically, you can't just do a video that has 3D animation and diagrams. It must have something that is based in the real world, real. It can be a photo. It can be a video. Usually that's like a video of your site or your concept or your model, I don't know, whatever it is. And lastly, it must have sound and or sound effects. I mean, if sound effects doesn't suit what you're doing, then fine, right? It is recommended, this is not a requirement, but it's recommended that you use narration, right? And I say that because over the years, sometimes you have some people, some groups that might do a movie and without the narration, we don't get it. Your audience don't understand what you're trying to say. So I would say, but to a small extent, like it's not a technical video. Like you're not recording your studio presentation and playing it back on a video. But suppose you have like a poem, right? Suppose a poem was the inspiration for an aspect and you want to like say the poem while you're showing the project. That's fine. All right. You guys following me so far?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Proposed timeline. I am proposing 2 weeks. However, I'm going to have a discussion with the program director. This happens every year. But anyway, ideally, this should be completed in time for your design studio because the idea is that you can use this video as a part of your presentation, right? Things always get sticky at the end of the semester, so I usually have a talk with your studio lead and your program director to find out what is the temperature of what is happening because there's always some drama. All right. By the way, is there any drama now I should know about that have to do with your design studio and your presentation date? Is there any craziness, any thing that I should know about? Well,
So,
let's have a,
we have,
yeah, go ahead.
so we just have assignments that are due close by. This week
I
is very
know.
tight because we have interim Friday. We
Mhm.
have ethics. We have a ethics quiz. We have presentations for
Right.
ethics.
I
And then
know.
after that we have history assignment due, and then yeah, so kind of back to back. Almost every day of this week will be something going on to
Right.
next week.
So usually I normally I don't want to say it beforehand because UTech sometimes changes their policy every time, especially as it relates to grading, right? But I always make a case for this being kind of like an exam, which would give it the ability to be in the exam period, which would be after studio. But as I said, the policy keeps changing because the last 2 years they said that no, we can't do it. And the year before they said they could. So it depends. So I'm going to speak to the PD to see if we can use this as a kind of exam. But still, I mean, if you do it for your design studio, you have a video. If you are planning on doing a animation for your design studio, then this is the perfect train for you to grab. I'm just saying. All right. We'll know more about the timeline next week. I'll speak to Andre and Julian to see what is the temperature of UTech and how things are going when they require grades and all of that. Because sometimes they will say they need a coursework grade. And this is coursework, by the way. It's not officially an exam. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. So my proposed timeline is always 2 weeks because it is possible, but I know that other things are happening. Basically, the steps that we need to do, you need to select your group. So you're going to do that between now and next week, right? In class next week, we'll create a storyboard. We'll talk about storyboard and that stuff. Meaning, before you leave class next week, you will know exactly what kind of animation, what kind of movie you plan to do. You should know, do I need to go to New Kingston and take a picture of the site, or I'm going to do something with my voice, I'm going to sing a song, I don't know. You should know exactly what you're doing by the end of next week class, all right? Because, well, hopefully it's not too much individual projects, but I hope to just, everybody should conclude that with me before leaving class next week. So next week is an important class. All right, so after you do that, the next thing you need to do is to get all of your content. So if some of you need to have flying dinosaurs, because that is a concept that I don't know how, but it's a part of your concept, then you need to get a 3D model of a flying dinosaur, and I will help you to get that. All right, so that's step 4. You need the assets. You need the music, the sound effect. If you need to take pictures, if you need to go on site, if you need flying dinosaurs, that's what you do, right? And step 5 is to gather all of your, well, oh, sorry, I missed step 3. Step 3 is to actually do the model or whatever you're doing, your project. You have to model the building, and which you have to do for your design studio anyway. This is why if you do it as a group, you want to choose somebody that have a model that's close to completion or is pretty viable. You know what I mean, guys? Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So don't group up with your friend and none of you have a model that you plan to use. Right? Right. Because design studio don't necessarily want you. I mean, what you need is plans and a perspective and a section, but a lot of 90% of you already have a 3D model. That's for sure. So,
Sir, and for students that's not doing studio, sir, can use old project, right?
if you're not doing studio, you can use a previous studio project.
Okay, sir.
Right. All right, so that was step 3. Step 4, step 5 is to edit everything together. So this is you captured all your pictures and everything. You need to put everything together in Premiere Pro or what's it called? Clipchamp or whatever, right? Remember, if you're in groups of 3, one person is responsible for post-production, one person for production, and one person for pre-production. All right. Pre-production is the planning, right? And then you submit the work, basically. All right, delivery guidelines. So the production must follow this order. You must have the advanced computing to final project as a text, the first thing on the video. Then you must have the name of it. You know, it could be the name of your project. Then you must show whatever you're showing, your main sequence, and then you put credits at the end, you put the lecturer name, name of your group members. That's super important. That's how you solidify your grade, right? The video must be FHD, which is 1920 by 1080. Nowadays, I don't expect you to do anything less, right? The file size should not be more than 1 gig, please. Don't fill up my Google Drive. And as I say, you mainly use live action, 3D animation, pretty much anything that you want to use from the internet, wherever. AI generated, feel free to use as long as it is tied in with your story, right? And we'll talk about that next week. Your final video must be 2 to 5 minutes in length. Please, no feature films. I don't need a 10-minute or 15-minute thing. Trust me. Just keep it short. It don't need to be long, right? If you work in group, each person will be awarded a group grade and an individual grade, each valued at 50%, right? So if you're in a group and one person did their part of the work and the group didn't do anything, 0%, which is impossible, but let's just say it happened, then you can get 50% of the grade. So 50% of the grade is dependent on you doing your part, and the other 50% is dependent on the group doing their part. So obviously there are going to be things that are graded as a group and things that are graded individually. All right. So, and this is just telling you your group, you're going to be divided. If you're working in groups, one person is for pre-production, one person for post, and one person for production, right? You cannot have two persons being production and, well, obviously it's only 3 of you, so you can only choose 3, right? And this just says what I said a while ago, that if you're working in groups, your group grade is based on your storyboard creation. That's 10% of your grade. Your overall production, that makes up your group grade. And your individual grade will depend on your role. So if you are pre-production, we're grading you for the storyboard, for the your whole well, because remember, pre-production, you're planning for the team. So how well did you do that? That's always a tricky one. You are also graded for how successful the film was in achieving its goal, right? So it's a very tricky role. It's not technical, meaning that it's not based on the materials or the lighting or the audio. It's based on how successful the film was, right? Did it follow the storyboard? Did you achieve what did you communicate how your concept connects to your project? That is one of the major things that determines the pre-production person's grade. So in a way, pre-production is really dependent on the film being successful, right? For production, it's more technical, like what's the render quality, materials, tools, animation, that kind of stuff. And post-production, it's about the flow of the clips. Like, is it better, how did you sequence? What is your transitions like? How is the audio? Did the audio go with the video? And how was the narration? Was the narration good? I couldn't understand what the person is saying. How was the audio quality? Things like that. All right. If you're doing individual, then obviously all of this is dependent on you. The choice is yours. All right, guys. So that was the final project, introduction. Any questions? Whoa, I think we use up the full class time. Wow. Any questions, guys?
So when you say the recording from last week, will you upload it?
When did I say the one from last week?
The recording, yeah.
Oh, I will put it up tonight. I'll put it up tonight. Right. So this is the handout that you will see on the class site, right? So remember the timeline. By next week, I should have, whether you're working in as a group or individual. Who is working as group, who is working as individual, I'm going to collect your names next week, right? By the end of the class next week, whether
Sir,
you're group.
remember to upload this one as well, sir. The recording, sorry.
Yeah, man, yeah, man. By the end of next week, everybody should have their storyboard done. That's 10% of your grade, right? It's literally classwork. We're going to do it in class, right?
It's 10 p.m.
That's pretty much the planning for your film, right? And also happening next week, I will know based on your, how do I start this? Based on your program director, I will know what kind of timeline we're looking on for the due date. All right. All right. But you should aim for it to be I think you should aim for it to be done for a design studio. That would be nice. Wouldn't that be nice, guys?
Would.
Okay. I'm gonna try to get the maximum time for you, so you will hear that by next week. So remember, guys, when you come next week, know what group you are in. And if you're in a group, know whose model you're going to use for the film, right? All right. Discuss, you know that there are three roles: post, pre, and production, right? You have an idea what they are. Pre-production is planning, post-production is technical, sorry, production is technical, and post-production is refining, Photoshop, Lightroom, um, Premiere Pro, video, audio, that kind of stuff. So you would try to divide yourself in ways that complement that. All right. That is class for today. Wow, that was a long class. Oh my. I mean, that was a full class, actually. All right. I will have all of this up as soon as it encodes, so you can watch it again. All right. Remember that you have for me your assignment 4, which I would love to collect by Friday. All right, guys. Remember that I'm hoping that you already have your video clips already, right? So you're literally just putting it to the music and sending it to me. Something that doesn't take more than half an hour, literally half an hour. Well, if you have your video clips already. And I think like 2 of you raised your hand that you have video clips, right? What are we saying now? Monday's too long because this assignment should be done already. Remember, you guys got the holiday, you got the Monday holiday. I know you have other things doing, right, guys? But this should be already out of the bag. It's just that we had that holiday, so that kind of make we a little delayed, which gave you extra time. So technically, you got an automatic holiday extension by virtue of the holiday being on Monday. All right. Okay, then. So I believe we are at the end of class. All right. It was a little quiet class today. There are some persons that couldn't seem to find the unmute button. All right. Hopefully, you guys find it soon by next class, because I would need to hear from everybody what groups they're in, right? So that will be it for today's class. All right, guys? And I guess I will see you again next week. Right?
Okay, sir.
Remember, next week is going to be important because that's when we decide on the groups. So please put yourself in groups of 3. I would suggest you try to do it in groups unless maybe you
Sir?
already design studio. Yeah.
So what you did us about storyboarding, sir, and 10%?
We'll do that. That's going to be in class. We'll do that next week.
Oh, okay. So that's part of the final project as well.
That's part of the final project, right?
Okay, okay.
So the only thing you're doing regarding the final project between now and next class is deciding who's going to be your group members, which person's project are we going to use, and anything else you want to discuss. But those are the 2 things that we need to know by next class. All right. I suggest you guys wrap up all your outstanding assignments. All right. Get it done with, out of the way. All right. All right.
All right, then, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I will see you guys next week. All right.
Yes.
All right. Cool, cool.